Sefaspe Arc 200 Pro unboxing review. Take one and action. No. Are you kidding me? Look at this. This ain't welding. This is manufacturing light bulb filaments. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, you're sweating, you're swearing, and you got nothing to show for it but a twisted up mess. If you wanted a heater, you'd buy a furnace. You want to lay beads, not bake bread. You need the Sefaspe Arc 200 Pro. It's got the brains to keep you from the glowing snake of death.
You're gonna love my arc.
Let's see what's in the box. Bring that camera in a little closer. So the box of goodies, the owner's manual, and the welder itself, and the cable that it plugs in with weighs 12.46 pounds altogether, which is pretty darn light for a welder. In case you're wondering, it passed. We have the Arc 200 Pro user manual, and it's written just in American English, which is fine with me. So the box of goodies. Looks like we got a stinger, a nice long electrode, a wire brush with the little chip hammer, which in the past I didn't know what these actually were, but that's a piece of hardened metal on the end there, and it's made to be used as a chip hammer. You have your grounding electrode, looks to be about the same length exactly as the stinger lead, and then you have this nifty little 120 volt adapter.
Yummy.
Mostly Mike will go over the controls and features.
First impressions, the quality of this cable feels really good. It doesn't feel cheap and plasticky. It's actually like a rubbery material. Looks like there's plenty of length, maybe, I don't know, 6 feet of cord. Got a nice little handle on top of the unit, easy to move around. Digital display on here. I'll have to plug it in here in a minute and show you that. Everything looks pretty good. These leads look to be a little more robust than the ones that I normally would see. Now this electrode holder is better than most of them that I've seen out there in welders in this price range. The spring is really good, and look at that inside. That's real copper in there. Get the camera up here closer, zoom in on that. Now that copper's grooved in there, so if your rod gets stuck on something and you start wiggling it around, it's not gonna slip all over the place in there while it arcs and burns up your copper. And these electrode leads, they don't feel plasticky, they don't feel cheap, they're made out of real rubber. Grounding clamp looks a little bit better than average on this. So the ground usually is the negative, but if you're doing reverse polarity, things could be a little different. And they basically just go in, quarter turn, get your stinger. They're nice big brass like that. Stick it in, quarter turn, and we're good to go. We're set up. Just plug this into the adapter. Okay, the prong was bent just a little bit there, but that's okay. Nice heavy brass on that. Plugged in.
Yummy.
So we can plug this into house power. Just plug that in right there. I like the paint job on it. Everything looks like a nice consistent coat. If we flip it around on the back side, you have the on switch. Turn it back around, and it's probably sensing voltage right now. And it does, it shows on the screen here. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're AC 110 volt. We're in the stick welding mode, 100 amp it's saying, which is one of my favorite currents. Now I found this display to be pretty intuitive. All that you have to change all of your functions is a knob, which the knob pushes in. Your amps are in detents. You can feel like a click for each amp. And then at the bottom, it tells you the suggested rod diameter for that amp, which at 100 amps and above, it's 3.2 millimeter. If you got a 99, you got a 2.5. Under 60, it'll go to 2.0. Function number 1 is your stick function. You push it again, you got your hot start in percentage. You push it again, you get your delay time for the hot start. That's for starting your rods. You push it again, you got your arc force and percentage of your total amps. And then if you don't select right away, it actually goes back to your top function on there, which is your stick welding. The lift TIG function, we don't have a TIG attachment here, but it's factory set at 100 amp. I'm going to talk to Sefaspe about maybe sending me a lift TIG attachment for this. It's just a TIG attachment. And then, of course, you have to run argon if you're TIG welding. So I have the argon tank. I just need the argon regulator, and I'll see if they'll send me that. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. You push it again, it goes back up to your stick function on here, which is what we're going to be doing these tests on at 110 volt. So I'm going to check the voltage coming out of the machine at max. This is plugged into 120 volt, and 155 is the highest that it goes on 120, which I'm kind of surprised that it actually runs. I tried the 150 and it works pretty well yet. We're at 73.8 volts DC. And regardless of where you have your current setting, if you go all the way down to 40 amps, which is the lowest, you're still going to read 73.8 volts DC.
All of the tests in this video will be done on a standard 120 volt, 20 amp circuit, and you are about to witness the unthinkable.
So I'm going to try it right there at 100 amps straight up without even knowing what is what on it. I'm just going to plug it in and get a piece of metal in the vise here. I got some 7014 rod. I'll show you these rods here in a second. So the rods we're going to be using on these tests are these 7014s, and they're old. As you can see, they've drawn some dampness. I don't know how they're going to run with this. I have these brand new 6013 3/32. I might try a couple passes with that on the end. But these other 7014s that I have, they're 1/8 inch. These have been around my shop forever. I'm just going to burn some of them up. But as you can see, their color isn't that good. You can tell that they've seen some dampness. Well, I mean, if it's going to burn these, it'll definitely burn something like these brand new ones. I mean, if you want to see like what a healthy rod looks like. And of course, these are brand new. I just bought these a few months ago. Hit this real quick with the grinder. Now keep in mind, this is 110 volt, and we're trying to weld 100 amps. We got our stinger here, which actually this feels better than most of the stingers that I've held from these cheaper welders. 7014 3/32 rod. And I'm amazed at how good these are running. These rods are actually, they've been in the shop environment, they are very wet, and you can see that they're splattery. But for out of the box, at a default setting, they don't seem to be running bad. That blew my mind. Okay, so that was a 7014 3/32 rod. I'm going to use their little chip hammer on this. And that rod ran amazingly well, you know, for being these rods didn't get wet, but they are very, you could just tell that they've actually sat out in the open air for a long time. But let's chip this off and see what it looks like. Slag came off nice and easy. These aren't a bad little tool. I mean, they look kind of goofy, if you want to call it that, but they really don't seem that bad. Now look at this weld, fellas. I'm pretty impressed by that. You know, for being a 7014 rod, That's actually not too bad of a weld. I'm going to turn the current up just a little bit, and I'm going to run another pass right beside it. Maybe 120 amp. And keep in mind, this is 110 volt. I have it plugged into this, which runs into a rail up in the ceiling. I don't know if you can see that up there. It's 110 volt, very portable. All right, so this is my second pass. I went right along the first one. It's still a 3/32 7014 rod, but we used 110 amps factory. The rest of the unit's factory set yet. And let's see how good this chips off. You know, it's a pretty decent pass when it just peels off like that, but boy, that really smoothed it out going up to a little bit more heat. Look at that. Just look at it. Pretty impressive. I mean, for 110 volt, I mean, think about that. This is on a 20 amp breaker. This is like you could run this off an extension cord, which we basically are. You know, if you look at that cord, that's SO cable, and it's that could even be number 14 SO. And you're not going to believe this, but we are running that welder on 16.3 SO cable. I mean, I'm an electrician by trade, and we probably really shouldn't be doing that. So don't do as I do. I accept no liability if you burn your house down running it on a 16 gauge extension cord. However, I think it's remarkable that we're running this on 16.3 and it's laying a weld like that. I can't believe it, actually. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to change that. I mean, that's just something you shouldn't do, but I think it's remarkable that this welder's actually running on that. I can't get over that. Okay, now 120 amps with that 3/32 is pretty remarkable. And again, that even smoothed it out further. It's pretty nice when you can get that to flake off like that. Let me hit it with the wire brush. Yeah, look at this, like a fossil. You can see right there where I started the weld. I should have went back on that a little bit and splashed it in, but it's sure burning them nice. I mean, that's 3 passes right there with the 7014 3/32 rods. I'm flipping this plate around, and we're going to start up with a fresh slate here. I'm not going to grind it or anything. I'm just going to try it right over the rust and see how we do. And we have our 7014 1/8 inch electrode. Get her locked up in the clamp. And here we go. I'm going to lay a bead right over here on the edge. Actually, no. I'm going to, the closest edge to you, I'm going to run her right alongside. Here we go. We're going to see if we can pop the breaker here. We might have to switch to 240 with these 1/8 inch rods. And I can tell you right now, it's welding a little bit cold. That is definitely cold. But I'm surprised that 110 volts is actually burning it. And I'm surprised that 16 gauge extension cord is actually running this welder. I'm going to have a fire extinguisher ready.
And that burned an 1/8 inch rod on 120 volt power. I mean, almost the whole way down. That's pretty remarkable. You shut the welder off. So I'm going to use their chip hammer, and that's a pretty cold weld right there though. Now it burnt that 1/8 inch rod pretty fine, but here's the thing. It's kind of cold. Let me get that other chip hammer here. All right, let me wire brush it a little bit. Now that is 120 amps with their welder, according to what they're calling it. And I don't think that's too bad. I mean, it's a little bit cold. It's sitting up a little bit high. But man, I'm liking that welder. So I'm going to go straight to the 150 amp setting on here. They even give the rod size under there. I just noticed that now. You're looking at 3.2 millimeters, I believe, which is probably close to 1/8 inch. And again, we're using these 7014 1/8 inch electrodes. I'm gonna burn one at 150 amp and see if our 16 gauge SO cable holds up. Okay, 7014 1/8 inch, 150 amps. And again, we're running it on a 20 amp circuit on 16.3 cable extension cord. And here we go. I bet it trips the breaker this time. That was freaking remarkable. That welder is just freaking
Mother of God.
I'm so amazed by that. I mean, check it out. We have the adapter on there yet, plugged into this box, 16 gauge cable, plugged into my ceiling, 150 amps. This is unfreaking believable. Okay, now I gave that a second to cool. Now check this out. It's gonna be like filleting a fish. Let me wire brush it a little bit. That is just, I mean, look at this. Your life just got easier. Stop throwing your money away on expensive welders when you can get yourself a Sefaspe Arc 200 Pro and make your life better. Now look, I can't do this all day, so click on the Amazon link above or in the description below and use this discount code to get your very own Sefaspe Arc 200 Pro. Be sure to check the description if the link don't work. Clicking the link really helps this channel more than you know.
Given its portability, the user-friendly display and controls, and the seamless transition from striking the arc to actually welding, I would highly recommend this welder to anyone from a beginner to a seasoned veteran welder, especially with its versatility and portability. It is around $120 at the time of this video, and I believe there are coupons available. If you click my Amazon store link, it helps this channel whether you buy anything or not. Please click. Please be sure to click the like if you enjoyed and consider subscribing if you're new here. Please be sure to check out my ever-growing welder and plasma cutter playlist with videos about welders and plasma cutters and welder and plasma cutter accessories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.